Finding loot, killing things, and leveling up so you could kill those things just a little bit faster than you could before. It's a gameplay loop that's manifested itself in some of the most satisfying gameplay available in many of the best games ever made. Doesn't really matter what game you're playing, killing enemies and looting their corpses is always gonna be a good time. But if there's one franchise that comes to my mind when I think of this, it has to be Borderlands. When the first game came out in 2009 alongside the likes of Modern Warfare 2 and Halo 3 ODST, I remember being enamored by its promises of having 15 million guns and the accompanying chaotic gameplay in which those guns were supposed to be used. Fast forward 3 more years to 2012, and Borderlands 2 is released. This happens to be the same year that 343 Industries began slowly destroying the most iconic video game franchise of all time, just in case you were wondering. Anyway, Borderlands 2 was utterly fantastic, and it is still the crowning achievement from Gearbox in this franchise. It took Gearbox 7 years and one pretty underwhelming spin-off to release the next mainline Borderlands title. But in September 2019, Borderlands 3 was released to generally positive reviews from critics and fans of the franchise alike, besides that whole epic thing. However, I and many other longtime fans of Borderlands struggled to enjoy this game when it was released. So let's go ahead and take a look at it 3 years later to see if it's as disappointing as I remember it being. Borderlands is a franchise that is defined by its guns. Shooting guns, finding guns, and shooting the guns you just found to find more guns. That is the essence of these games. And in previous Borderlands games, it always felt like the gunplay mechanics were a little behind the curve compared to other shooter titles of their time. But this absolutely cannot be said of Borderlands 3. This game absolutely kills it here. At the very beginning of this game, you're just given this dinky little pistol, but this thing feels fucking awesome. Right away, you can feel the massive improvement that Gearbox made here, and it is very much appreciated. After playing this game for I'm guessing around 50 hours, I'm still finding new weapons that look and feel unique, and I cannot state this enough, they all feel so punchy and gratifying to use regardless of their actual effectiveness in combat. Just look and listen to the difference between this game and its predecessors. As an example, in back-to-back golden chests, I got an SMG that when reloaded would just become a drone that would follow me around and shoot at things that I was shooting at, and a pistol that shoots fireballs like Mario. I had not used anything like either of these guns before, and I found them at level 51. And let's not forget about the wonder of grenade mods. Borderlands finds a way to take the simple, usually boring concept of a grenade and amp it up into this brilliant mechanic. Grenades can spawn homing rockets, create a healing field, drop fireballs from the sky, and even possess enemies to fight for you. And this is just to name a few. This game has such a truly awesome variety of weapons that manages to easily surpass the previous titles in the franchise, and it takes the already incredible gameplay loop that Borderlands is known for up 10 more notches. Speaking of improvements, this game added mantling and sliding. Yeah, like pretty much every shooter seems to do these days. And it makes me wonder sometimes, where would we be without Titanfall? The point is that it adds this hectic dimension of pace that Borderlands had been lacking, and I love it. Running, sliding, shooting, mantling, jumping, it all just feels so good. It adds a full range of control over the gameplay that other Borderlands games just didn't have. And similar to the gunplay mechanics, this is a massive improvement that takes the gameplay to the next level. There are a bunch of quality of life refinements that are highly appreciated as well. The ability to refill your ammo and health from a single button press at the vending machine is awesome. Switching between quests with a key press instead of opening a menu is very convenient, and fast traveling from anywhere instead of finding a fast travel station saves you so much time. But some of the UI elements in this game leave a little to be desired. For example, the fast travel menus are not all that intuitive. Again, being able to fast travel from anywhere is fantastic, but I have to say that the process of doing so is not all that great. You can't just click and hold on a fast travel station on the map. Instead, you need to scroll through this list of stations to find the one you want, and then hold a button on the keyboard. It's pretty annoying, and it's as if the system was just developed for controller use, which, frankly, it probably was. I also have absolutely no fucking clue why the info card for the weapon pops up in the middle of the screen. Like, what were they thinking here? I have absolutely no idea. Every other Borderlands game has it in the correct place, right on the side, out of the way, but not here. I would love for somebody to explain this decision to me. Another hiccup in this area is the map. This game actually does a much better job than its predecessors in this regard, but it still falls very short of where I believe it should be. The levels this game presents are stunning, and I'll talk more about that soon, but getting around them, it's just a massive fucking headache. Constantly, I found myself turning around, trying to get where I needed to go by finding a certain road or going up a certain staircase. It's just an issue that persists across basically every level the game offers, and I can just offer a pretty simple solution to this issue, and that's adding some type of waypoint system or a GPS. Virtually every game in a similar genre uses some type of system like this, and some of you might be thinking, gamers these days just want everything hand-fed to them, bunch of lazy fucks. Listen, if you want to spend your time walking in circles, fucking trying to find where you need to go like a lost dog, you can do whatever the fuck you want, okay? But I don't have time for this shit. The levels in this game are way too complex to be left without any way of knowing where you're going, and the pacing of Borderlands is not fit for this type of exploration, and the worlds just aren't designed in a way that getting lost is part of the fun. Despite this game offering this kind of miniature open world experience, most of the actual objectives in this game are just linear, go here, do that style objectives that don't even offer you any type of freedom to complete them how you want to anyway. So yeah, Gearbox, just add waypoints or a GPS or something to Borderlands 4. You can take it from me for free. I'm not asking for money. Just do it, okay? Alright, so what about the things you're killing then? Previous Borderlands titles had great enemy variety for sure, but I do think this is another area where Borderlands 3 takes a step forward, especially when you factor in the DLC content. Of course, you have the classic bad guys we've all come to know and love, but there is so much more than that. Crazy cultists, check. Dinosaurs, you got it. Gundam mechs, yup. Little guys with their helicopter backpacks, also check. This game does mirror previous installments in the franchise with this kind of crazy enemy variety thing they got going on, but it does just take it all up a notch. And this game fixes one of the biggest mistakes that Borderlands 2 made, which was making the primary enemies you fight for the entire game extremely vulnerable to corrosion. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like I said before, Borderlands 2 is a masterpiece, but just making every enemy for almost the entire game a robot that is absolutely burned through by corrosion and only corrosion, it's just a really bad decision as far as weapon balancing goes. This game just does a much better job of keeping things interesting by throwing enemies at us with more interesting strengths and more interesting weaknesses than we've ever had before in Borderlands. And I think that a big reason it can deliver such a diverse cast of enemies is because of the emphasis put on world design. And this is just done masterfully. I don't think it's possible for me to say enough about how fantastic the world design is in this game. From the familiar landscape of Pandora to downtrodden ghost towns overrun by lunatic cultists to futuristic megacities controlled by dangerous corporations, this game really does just take you everywhere. And every single environment is just presented with such an impressive feeling of compatibility with the theme that Borderlands is known for. I'm not sure that I've ever played another game that can take you from a frozen hellscape that's sky is occupied by this gargantuan dead monster to the inside of a ridiculously huge and opulent mansion in the woods and inside a gory representation of the demented mind of a psycho, and yet every setting feels incredibly theme appropriate, just as though it belongs perfectly within this space. Maybe this is a bold take, but I think Borderlands 3 has arguably some of the most impressive world design in gaming. While it might not have the engrossing attention to detail that Rockstar presents in games like Red Dead Redemption 2, and it doesn't match the colossal and rather terrifying expanse found in a game like Elden Ring, it does accomplish what it sets out to do magnificently. These levels might not be that large, but they don't need to be. Each environment feels like you're walking around an art piece that has been brought to life in the wonderfully chaotic world of Borderlands, and the sense of scale is immense, regardless of the size of the level. The height of the buildings on Promethea make it feel like you're really a part of this massive dystopian society, even if you practically have access to none of it. And just look at this massive underground alien artifact thing. For one thing, it looks cool as hell, but it just makes you feel like you're standing in this absolutely enormous cavern when the actual playable space is basically nothing. There are just so many examples of Gearbox using scale to trick your mind into thinking you're a part of these immense open worlds. And this might seem like it's just a product of following standard level design philosophy, and I guess it pretty much is. But I don't think I've ever played a game that executes this simple concept so well. It harmonizes flawlessly with this game's brilliant art style to create these vibrant atmospheres that will grab your attention and keep it throughout your entire playthrough. Speaking of your playthrough, let's talk a little bit more about the actual gameplay this game offers. Outside of the improved mechanics we talked about earlier, not a whole lot has changed from previous Borderlands titles, and I think this is a bit of a shame. The quests still follow this simple go to a location, complete tasks, go to the next location, kill this guy, come back for reward loop that has been employed by all of the previous titles, and frankly, I'm getting a little tired of it. Fortunately, the excellent combat mechanics this game offers keep you from getting too bored of this type of gameplay. However, I can't help but wonder how much better this game could have been if it had just had the courage to try something new with its objectives. Borderlands is packed with so much deranged lunacy anyway, I'm not really sure what the harm would be in broadening the scope a bit on some of these objectives. I'm not sure that it would be possible for anything to feel out of place in this environment, but things absolutely can feel repetitive, and they do here. One other thing that I wanted to mention was that I just found this game to be too easy. I found myself encountering bosses that are presented as all badass and cool, just to find myself completely burning through them without taking almost any damage. This was mostly resolved for me when I completed the game and unlocked Mayhem mode, which scales all enemies to your level and offers XP boosts and higher loot drop rates in exchange for more difficult enemies and other debuffs. But until I reached this point, it just felt like I was steamrolling through everything, and I didn't really feel like I was earning my way through the game. One place this game did try something new, though, was with its playable characters. The previous two mainline titles in this franchise had very similar classes offered between them. That changed with the third installment, though. All four classes bring something fresh to the table that we have not seen in Borderlands before, and I would argue they offer the most diversity available in builds that we have seen to date. These characters also seem to be much more well-balanced than the classes that were available previously, which is definitely refreshing to see. I also feel like this game handles the leveling system in a way that is considerably more satisfying than previous titles. With the introduction of Mayhem mode, you can just pass through the higher levels so much faster than you could before. Borderlands 2 was just such a massive grind when you reached the end game, but that's not the case here. You will breeze through the higher levels, and while some players may prefer the slog that is grinding in Borderlands 2, I appreciated being able to get to level 65 by simply playing through the main story and the DLCs. I think you could probably even reach almost max level if you just played through the game, did every side quest, and all the DLCs. Now, I really didn't do that. I played through the game pretty quickly. I breezed through a lot of the side quests. If you're a completionist, I think you'll almost definitely get to max level just by playing through everything the game has to offer one time. This does render true Vault Hunter mode pretty much useless, but this is definitely a sacrifice I'm willing to make. It just makes the game feel so much more satisfying to play through. I am a little bit disappointed, though, that Gearbox went with adding new skill trees to the game via DLC instead of new playable characters. Not only does it simply add less content to this game's already depressingly lackluster add-ons, but it also alienates players who choose not to purchase the DLC for their playthrough. Being locked out of an entire skill tree for your character simply because you did not want to purchase DLC feels cheap and is definitely at odds with the fact that otherwise, this game doesn't rely on an in-game item economy or any other type of intrusive microtransactions to keep it afloat. So speaking of this game's DLCs, they're definitely not worth it anywhere near full price. I will give you my ranking of the 4 main DLC. So to start, Mad Moxie's is easily the best one. Offers a decent amount of content to justify its price tag, especially if you can get it on sale. And it gives us a great throwback to Borderlands 2, which I really liked. The environments are fantastic and well varied, and the story is pretty good. Wainwright and Hammerlock's Wedding is a distant runner-up, but it's still alright if you really like the game. If you really enjoyed playing through Hammerlock's Hunt in Borderlands 2, you should probably pick this one up at a discount if you can. Krieg's fantastic Fustercluck is actually really enjoyable, but it's just way too short to justify its price tag. I really liked this one. I thought the environments were really cool and unique, but again, it's just a really short playthrough, so be prepared for that. And way down on the bottom of my list of Borderlands 3 DLC is Bounty of Blood. This DLC fucking sucks a fat pair of nuts. I have absolutely no idea what they were thinking with this one. The story, for starters, flows like fucking molasses. Everything flows at the pace of a goddamn 90-year-old woman on the way to the fucking bingo hall. It is asinine. And don't get me started on the music. It is fucking brutal. There's this ambient combat music that sounds like a fucking ape playing with wind chimes. And then they have this narrator talking to you the entire way through the story. And let me just tell you something. This guy needs to shut the fuck up.
As soon as the Vault Hunter's boots tasted dirt, all the Vault Hunter could do was take his badge. The Vault Hunter set about creating a nuisance to draw him out. That pleasure was reserved for the Vault Hunter.
I don't need to hear about what you think the Vault Hunter is doing every 2 seconds. Sorry, buddy. Keep it to yourself. And what the fuck is going on with this core exploder bullshit? Basically, in order to get through certain objectives, you need to, like, find this big fucking plant hanging around somewhere and hit it, and then it launches explosives towards whatever and blows it up to, like, open a path for you to progress or a few other things. What the fuck is the point in this? Just let me shoot the damn thing. It's mind-blowing, okay? Anyway, if you can get the Season Pass bundle or the Ultimate Edition at a really steep discount, I would recommend picking it up if you enjoyed previous Borderlands titles especially. It's definitely not a requirement, and if you do choose to get it, do not play Bounty of Blood. Don't waste your time. Alright. There is a massive elephant in the room, and the time has come for us to address that elephant. Throughout my time playing Borderlands 3, I constantly found myself asking the question, who in their right mind gave the script for this video game the green light? What an abomination. It is actually unbelievable to me that a group of people who likely have years, if not decades, of experience writing scripts in the entertainment industry produce this absolute nonsense. For starters, let's talk about Ava.
Yes! That's so freaking cool.
I want to die instantly.
So, she's annoying as all hell. Everybody knows this. Her character adds absolutely nothing to this game other than providing a passage for some, I guess, character development from Maya. But she's just there to be the customary dumbass character that nobody likes, and her character never really successfully develops into anything other than an annoying child. But that's far from my largest issue with the writing in this game.
What up, my bandit orphans? God Queen Tyrene coming at you live from the HBC.
Hey, turd farmers! Check this out!
God Queen Tyrene and her stupid-ass degenerate brother? Bruh!
And we are live Well, not them. They're super dead.
Just blast that subway car with your butt stink.
It is inconceivable to me how they managed to come up with writing like this. I think the writing team just became overconfident in their outrageous approach to this franchise. Like, Borderlands has always been over the top, and it just barely walked this line between manageable, if not excessive humor, and just being all-out cringe. This game, however, threw itself way over that line, got up and kept on fucking running. It's as though they just intentionally made this game as cringy as they possibly could have. And it all starts when you meet this guy named Vaughn right at the beginning of the game. This guy is the single most annoying supporting character I have ever seen in any form of entertainment. He makes Jar Jar Binks look like a fucking genius. This greased up, disgusting douchebag wearing underwear and a fucking cape is the most aggravating piece of shit character I have ever had the displeasure of encountering in a video game. Just listen to this guy talk for a few seconds.
My clan only accepted me as a leader after I killed a guy with just my abs, so imagine what it takes to unite all the clans together. You'd need like a 20-pack, 18 bare mins. He stole a pair of my undies. Now let's bro chat.
I'm all in, bro. Hear me, bros and bronettes.
Oh, bro.
Bro. Cardio life! So, how's my ass look from back there? If you want to ride sometime, you just let me know, bro. Bro trip!
It is astonishing that this guy was allowed to exist like this. It doesn't end with him, though. There are so many other examples that just blew me away. I will show you a few examples now. I apologize in advance.
Burgers for swamp folk. Friggin' burgers! Woo! And I thank you too. Like this. Thanks! I anoint thee, Ravager of Roland's Reach Around.
Whoever gets 4 tokens first wins a single serving of yours truly. I'm talking sex stuff! 2 rounds if I've got the juice.
Suck on my big brother sauce balls, Vault Hunter. To run!
Listen, brah, when danger calls, you answer, brah. You answer! A ring, ring, brah. Ring, ring. It's for you. Ring, ring.
It is just too much to handle, frankly, and I actually considered playing this game in a different fucking language, so I didn't have to listen to these stupid pricks talk about their dumbass shit any longer, but I got through it just barely. But I guess the question that I was left with after all of this was, does any of this even matter? I mean, yeah, it's annoying as fuck, but I still had a ton of fun playing through this game this time around, and I don't think Borderlands has really ever been that much about the story. So to answer the question, no, I don't really think it does matter. Not even a little bit, honestly. Borderlands is all about the guns you get and the way you use them to kill things, and this game executes that concept brilliantly. And the only thing that matters when you're playing a game is the answer to the question, are you having fun? And while this game's downright awful writing certainly can put a damper on the fun at times, the core gameplay here is a realization of everything Gearbox has learned about what makes Borderlands fun, and despite everything I just said, that fun cannot even begin to be contained by the missteps of the writers of this game. So Borderlands 3 is a fantastic game, and it's going to earn an 88 from me. There is plenty of room for it to improve, but you'd have to be doing something wrong if you didn't enjoy what it has to offer. It takes everything its predecessors did right and turns it all up a few notches, for better, or I guess in a few cases for worse. But that's okay, because everything this game gets right is executed masterfully. The worlds this game places you in are simply amazing, crafted with an almost unmatched level of creativity and imagination. The added quality of life refinements and fresh mechanics make Borderlands feel as top-notch as it ever has. Together with the expanded collection of guns available and the extraordinary revamped gunplay, these improvements make Borderlands 3 a triumphant display of lunacy and amusement. If you're looking for something fun to play, look no further.